Welcome to this week's World on Water Global Sailing News. Hi, my name is Rob Brown. In this week's show, we look at the Noakes Sydney to Gold Coast race. Sun Hung Hai Scallywag wins the transatlantic race from Wizard. Day 2 at the TP52 series in Cascais, Portugal. We take a look at the finish of the Transpac race. Then we head to Newport, Rhode Island for the 12 Metre Worlds. Plenty of action at the Hempel Youth Sailing World Championships in Poland, and back to the Finn Silver Cup in Anzio, Italy. New champions in the NACRA 15 multi-hull worlds. We take a look at the Noakes Sydney to Gold Coast race, and we talk to the Commodore of the CYCA. We are here this morning with Paul Billingham, the Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. Welcome, Paul, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Rob.
We've got this great Noakes Sydney to Gold Coast yacht race coming up on the weekend. How's it all looking?
Oh, it's looking like a cracker. I mean, we've got 77 boats, I think 76 this morning, one's had to drop out. The quality of the fleet this year is fantastic. A lot of great 60-footers. I think there's 11 TPs out there as well.
Wow.
So yeah, a real mixed bag of competitors, but really exciting racing ahead.
And obviously in winter time the weather plays an important role in all this. What's the weather looking like?
Yeah, it's looking a bit patchy. So we were talking about this last night amongst some of the board, a number of them are racing up this year, and the wind's coming from all directions and not particularly strong. So it might be quite interesting to see how it unpacks from Saturday onwards.
Okay, with a race like this, we have a lot of current flowing from north to south. The boats are going from south to north. A lot of coast hopping.
Well, you'd think so. I mean, I'd imagine the navigators and the tacticians are going to have their work cut out, working where to go. And if the wind comes in late, there could be a small boat race again.
Yeah. So tell us, what are the biggest boats? We haven't got the big 100-footers out there, but certainly the quality of the fleet, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
What are the guys that are going to be charging for line
Yeah,
on?
we still have a small boat now. I've got a 40-footer, but we do like to look at the big end of the fleet. There's 4 or 5 great 60-footers. Obviously, Wild Oaks 10 going up is probably the most noteworthy. I think she's probably just about the largest. But David Goetz' new boat, I think it's called No Limits or Unlimited, is the old Voodoo Child from last year. Yes. Good opportunity. I think Rupert Henry's taken up Chinese Whisper, which he had adapted for two-handed racing for the Osaka race. So a whole bunch of those boats will be vying it out. But of course, our sponsor Sean Langman on his RP65 naval group's going up.
For sure.
He'll be fancying himself a line-ons, I reckon.
Yeah. Now with a race like this, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who's going to win it on handicap?
Not a hope, no chance. I mean, again, it comes on what the weather's going to do. If it starts off patchy, then you've got to think it's going to be tough for the big boats.
Yeah.
If it comes through, you get some of the smaller boats we've seen in the past, how some of these 35, 40-footers go. We've got, I think, 6 or 7 Sydney 38s out there, so it could be anybody's race, which makes it exciting. Yeah. Last year was a big boat race with the Supermaxes, this year is something different.
Okay. Now look, with a race like this and the importance of having Noakes Boatyard supporting the race, I believe they've got a multiple year arrangement with the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. How important is that to the functioning of this race?
Functioning of the club. I mean, at the end of the day, without our sponsors, particularly what Sean and Noakes have been doing, not just in the club but in the Sydney yachting community, we can't run races like this as effective as we like. We're getting much better TV coverage, drone footage and so on this year. That takes money, it takes effort, it takes cost, and we need people like Noakes to support us. So having Noakes on board for 5 years, this is the 2nd year of their relationship, incredibly important, and I know all of the sailors and the skippers appreciate that support.
That's great, isn't it? And with recreational boating growing at the rate it is, I suppose the importance of having someone like Noakes Boatyard and the facilities over there in North Sydney is very important. Can you make a comment on that?
Look, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Sydney Harbour's quite limited in terms of the options, and Noakes over at Lavender Bay really, really close. This is a record fleet over the last decade here. The Sydney Hobart 75th coming up at the end of the year, looking at well over 100 boats entering for that. They need to be looked after, and we need people like Sean and the Noakes team doing that.
Yeah, that's great. And if people want to follow the race, we've got the tracker boxes on the boats.
Yeah, they're being installed this morning behind me as we speak. So they're going around putting on we call them the yellow bricks. They're going on board. It'll all be live on the Noakes Sydney Gold Coast Yacht Race website, and there'll be regular updates from our media team throughout the whole event.
Great. Well, thanks to Cruising Yacht Club of Australia for putting on this great race, and we wish you all the best for the race.
Thanks,
and
Rob.
Also for the big one coming up later in the year, the Sydney to Hobart.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you. Well, we're here down at Noakes Boatyard, and I'm here with Managing Director, CEO and owner of the Noakes Group.
Is it titled?
Sean, in preparations for this week's Noakes Sydney to Gold Coast yacht race. Lovely day to be working in a boatyard.
Oh look, it's perfect, Rob, and yeah, Noakes is actually celebrating 25 years in this bay in the next couple of months, and now with our next development application we're looking for the next 30. So yeah, pretty exciting. Only a few days to go before the race. I'm very much hands-on,
as we can see.
Working in the yard, and the boat preparation's coming on well.
Yeah, look, your love of boats is probably second to none in Australia, if not the world. Just looking behind us here now, you know, we've got the Rothman ferries, we've got Naval Group, which is the boat that you'll be sailing this Saturday in the CYC race. You've got all these recreational boats for servicing. You know, how did you get interested in boats in the first place?
Well, I suppose how lucky am I, Rob? I was actually literally born on a boat in Sydney Harbour that my parents lived aboard. And when I left school and I was kicking around, I became a shoe salesman, then was offered a job to sweep the floor at Alspar. And I did that for a few years, and I loved that. And then there was an opportunity to join John Noakes in the early 80s, and I did that, and fundamentally haven't looked back. But you know, I'm very fortunate in that I've been able to have my passion of sailing, my passion of old timber boats wrapped up in what I actually do for a living.
Well, you know, with your love of boats, you do have an affection to timber wooden boats, as we can see. You know, the Rothman ferries, you know, historic ferries from Sydney Harbour. With the increasing growth in recreational boating, is there enough facilities here in Sydney and the region to service that increase in growth?
Sad thing is that as much as people talk about working harbour and the love of working harbour, it is diminishing quite rapidly. So now Noakes today is hanging on to our water lease and really pushing forward with our apprenticeship program. Now to put the floating dry dock just behind us will really future-proof the company for the next 25, 30 years. Yeah.
Look, obviously there's a focus on cleanliness and doing the right thing with our water and our air and noise pollution, all those type of things. What's Noakes Group doing about those sort of issues?
So again, I'm proud of the fact that in 1993 this was the first Australia-wide environmentally compliant boat and shipyard. And we've really been at the forefront of that. The EPA recently said if you want this floating dry dock here, you've got to give us something better than best practice. So now we're removing all volatile organic compound from the atmosphere when we actually apply paint. So we're putting in line a carbon filter into our already air filtration system. So that's a real biggie. And as
so
far
just
as
go back, a floating dock. So
yes.
A floating dock's going to come here. So instead of taking the boat from the water out onto the hard stand, it goes onto a floating pontoon, which allows people to work on it. But you're saying all the environmental applications are already there and are better than what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. The hard stand as it is best practice. The slipway that we've had that we'll still maintain will be only used for heritage vessels that we can do much more slowly.
Yeah.
So basically that's a give back to the Sydney Heritage fleet.
Yes.
So in lieu of having the slipway, which now is problematic as far as the environment goes, we'll put the floating dry dock in, and because it has got sidewalls, it makes it quite easy to put in again another bit of Australian technology that we've come across to get the sound actually half of what we're speaking now.
Aussie David Witt and his Scallywag crew are pushed by the former Rolex Sydney to Hobart race winner, Wizard, to be first across the line in this year's transatlantic race.
Yeah, so we just finished the transatlantic race on Scallywag. Really interesting race, really tactical. Not your standard kind of follow a weather system across the Atlantic. There were lots of ridges to negotiate. And we had our fair share of snakes and ladders, but a really good race. You know, the lads pulled together well. We sailed the boat really well. You know, the whole goal of this transatlantic race for the Scallywag team is to prepare for the Hobart. That's the big one for us and our sponsor. So yeah, it's been a great learning experience. We're really pleased to take away line honours. That was, you know, when you go to a race like this with the biggest boat, that is your goal. You know, to take line honours. We've achieved that. We had a really great battle with Wizard. Those guys, a bit of a, you know, it's a previous Volvo winning Volvo 70 with an all-star crew, so you know they pushed that boat to 110%, and we had to work hard to at times keep up with them, even though we're a much bigger boat. But you know, we're pleased. We're a young team. We're developing, and yeah, looking forward to the next challenges. We've got the Fastnet next. We've tackled light winds and heavy winds, 40 knots to 5 knots and lots of current, so it's been a great training exercise. Really pleased with how the team performed, and yeah, roll on, ready for the Fastnet race.
ARGO is the first multi-hull to arrive in Hawaii in this year's Transpac race. We hear from Brian Thompson.
It's amazing to be back here. I think it's my 6th time in Honolulu, racing from California. So I've got the course record with Fado, and now after I think the 4th attempt, being the first multi-hull to finish, the first boat to finish this race here on ARGO tonight, which is incredible. But it turned out the racing was really close. The start was incredible. There was an eddy off the coast of California, which made it super light, much lighter than normal, and at night it shut down, and we were really the boat that got out the best and just got out before the wind shut down, so we got out into the wind and then extended through the night to have about an 80-mile lead. So 4.5 days is not a bad time at all to do 2,200 miles, so we're all chuffed to be here.
Jim, first time to Hawaii, first Transpac. What's it feel like?
Fantastic, Dobbs, absolutely. I mean, what a beautiful evening to arrive into such a fantastic part of the world. I'm really excited to be here, and I can't think of a better way to have made it here than sailing 2,500 miles in a magnificent boat like Commamche on the seas, and the winds that we had. It was just fabulous. To be a part of the Transpac race, I consider an honour in itself, and this boat and its crew are just magnificent to be a part of. To add to that, the Barn Door Trophy, that's taking it 3 or 4 levels up from just participating. It's hugely exciting, and to come across the world to do it in foreign territory and foreign waters, it just makes it all the more special.
The Barn Door Trophy is, I think, unique in yacht racing, where it really is a chronicle of the history of yacht racing and a chronicle of the fastest and most successful yachts in yacht racing. But I think the Barn Door really has a prestige beyond the Transpac itself, and really is a way of showing the history of yacht racing overall. So I'm pleased to be involved in getting Commamche's name on that trophy.
Top US photographer George Bekris sent through some beautiful images of the 12-metre World Championships held in Newport, Rhode Island. An amazing display of 12-metre history racing hard on the hallowed waters of Newport Sound. This takes me back to our historic win on Australia 2 back in '83, when we came from behind in the last race and from 3-1 down in the series to take home the holy grail of yachting, the America's Cup. Day 3 of the Hempel Youth Sailing World Championships, and the Aussies reign supreme. The Finn Silver Cup in Anzio, Italy 2019 is the Under 23 World Championships.
So I sold the boat at the end of the season last year because of the decision from World Sailing to get rid of the fins, and it was a real difficult thing for me, but I wanted to carry on and lost 20-25 kilos and jumped in a laser, and I'm back now in the fin doing as many events as I can. And really it's just about enjoying the sailing, and the fin class is really a great environment for that, and I haven't really felt that anywhere else I've sailed. It was a 4 or 5 month period over winter where I lost all the weight, and it was really difficult. My whole day was revolved around eating absolutely no food and going to the gym as much as I can, or cycling. It really had a massive negative effect on me personally, my relationships, both friends and family, and at the end of the day it wasn't healthy, so it's great to now be doing what I'm used to and enjoying it all again. I kind of, through the season, I started bouncing back to my normal natural weight. It came back on easier than it came off, because it's the size I'm meant to be, and I shouldn't be forcing myself into a situation which my body doesn't want to be in. It's not healthy and it's just not sustainable. I'm going to do as much fin stuff as I can. As I say, I love the class and it's great fun, and you're constantly learning with such a strong class at the moment. Hopefully I'm going out to Australia for winter, doing lots of different types of sailing, but if all goes to plan, I'll do the Gold Cup out there, and that's my next sort of aim, next target in the fin.
New champions in the NACRA 15 multi-hull worlds.
I'm here with Beck Hancock and Will Cooley. Guys, tell us the news.
We've just become the new world champions in the NACRA 15. Absolutely balling.
How does it feel?
It's unreal, like it just doesn't feel real at all. Like,
yeah, just the effort we put in, like to see it come out the other end is the best feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Like we've both worked so hard for this, and guess it's definitely paid off.
Guys, tell us how you did it.
Just being consistent,
Yeah.
working together as best as we can, and yeah, it just came from that. There really wasn't any secret to it or
Like just
special moves.
playing at low risk, racing smart, not racing to win any races, but to win the regatta and just be consistent, try our best.
Oh, you guys did absolutely amazingly. Is there anyone at home you wanna thank or say anything to?
We want to say big thanks to Australian Sailing.
Yeah.
Big thanks to our parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, just everyone around us supporting us. Thanks for not having a heart attack. Gotta love it.
Anyone for you, Beck?
Again, just parents, our sponsors for the event, Zyke and Australian Sailing, and of course our lovely coaches who we couldn't have done it without, and Will.
You guys made an amazing team. You're a pleasure to work with this week. Do you have any messages for any young sailors out there that are aspiring to get to the Youth World Championships?
Just keep at it.
Yeah.
Might not feel like you're doing the best wherever you are, but it'll always turn out good as long as you put in the effort, put in the hard work. Just keep it going, keep the drive, keep the motivation.
Keep going. If you're not having fun, then something's wrong, so always have fun.
Yeah. Oh, guys, you're a pleasure to work with this week. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.
Well done again.
Well, that's another great week on the World on Water. Be watching for more boating news next week. I'm Rob Brown. Bye for now.